Imperfect parents. The world is filled with them, and all we have to do to find imperfect parents is look in the mirror. Although my kids, like most kids, unknowingly expect perfection from their parents, I promise that I'm not a perfect dad. Likewise, my dad wasn't perfect, and I remember way too many times when I got upset over his flaws. For example, every Thanksgiving without fail, when the food was ready and everyone was hungry, my dad would tell us the story about Gibbons again. The Gibbons story can be told in 30 seconds, but my dad dragged it out by emphasizing every single word for at least 5 minutes. Here's a short version of his eye-rolling tale. A wealthy pilgrim named Gibbons had a bumper crop of food. He knew it would go bad if it wasn't eaten right away, so he invited all the Native Americans and other settlers for a giant feast. They ate until they were packed with food, and when the feast ended, everyone stood for one last toast. In unison, they all raised a glass of wine and turned toward Gibbons and said, "Thanks, Gibbons!" And that is how the celebration of Thanksgiving was started. Every time my dad told this little story, he dragged it out for 5 minutes, and by the time he was finished, everyone clapped and whistled and said, "Yay, Roger, say it again!" Well, I melted. Now let's consider another parental eye-rolling story from the Bible. Remember how God told the prophet Samuel to go to the house of Jesse and anoint one of his sons to be the next king? Well, after Samuel rejected all of Jesse's boys, he asked, "Are these all the sons you have?" "Well, they're still the youngest," Jesse answered. "He's out tending the sheep." Here we see a dad who never even considered his youngest son, the one who would become King David. Now later on, can you imagine King David shaking his head and saying to his dad, "Hey, Dad, remember that time when you forgot about me?" Yes, Jesse blew it. Yes, my dad loved to chew on every word as we were all forced to listen. And yes, parents make mistakes. Mine did, yours did, and we do too. So this is the simple message today, asking us to take a new look at our flawed parents and to give them extra grace. Maybe it's a good day to write them a love note. Perhaps a note of Thanksgiving, just to let them know how thankful you are for all that they have done for you, for how they tried, for how they did their best, for how they loved us. Wouldn't it be something if children around the world would more often say Thanksgiving?